What's going on, guys? Within here, back with another League of Legends video. This time I'm going to be doing Lethality Varus. Now Lethality Varus is really good at the moment. It's good in the mid lane and the bot lane, so without further ado, let's get into the guide.
No forgiveness.
So Lethality Varus is good for a lot of reasons. One of the main ones is that you're able to deal a lot of damage from a safe distance, and you have hard CC that spreads around, so you are a pretty safe champion even though you don't have an escape. With your Q range, your E range, and even your auto attack range is pretty long, it does allow you to deal damage from a really safe distance, and if you've got a support it's just an added bonus, because obviously you are still going to be threatened by flanks by champions like Kha'Zix and Lee Sins and Camille's, which you know there's a lot of in every game. But what you're going to need to know to be able to pull this pick off is the rune page. It's Comet, Mana Flow Band, Absolute Focus, and Gathering Storm. Comet just gives you extra poke damage. It's really good on him. You can easily deal an extra load of poke damage, as well as Mana Flow Band giving you mana regen, because his mana costs are pretty high, and even though you are going to be buying a tier in this guide, you know, it still is something that you need to keep into consideration when thinking about how many spells you can actually fling out just on waves. You need to be careful and make sure you are auto attacking waves and not just burning through your mana. Absolute Focus is also really good on Varus because you're a poke champion. You're not going to really be getting into the fight and taking damage, so it means that you do have absolute focus for a large portion of the game, and you are able to, you know, just use it on waves, as well as being able to poke with the extra AD really does help. And then Gathering Storm, just because it's a staple, and the bottom end of the tree is pretty bad in sorcery, so yeah, it's just the best one. You get some free AD every 10 minutes, so yeah, not much to say about that. And then from the secondary tree, you're going to be taking Biscuits and Cosmic Insight. Now, it's just a bit of free CDR when it comes to Cosmic Insight. You know, you get your Summoner spells earlier as well, so, you know, that's a little bit of a bonus, and he scales really well with cooldown reduction. Biscuits, you know, is for the sustain and lane. You get a lot of mana from Biscuits as well, so that helps until you've got your tier. But yeah, going back into this build and how it works, it pretty much works because you get earlier spikes, and with crit being really weak at the moment, it allows you to, as I say, receive earlier and better power spikes, which is really important in this meta because it's really snowbally. On top of that, as I've said a few times at the beginning, you can deal a lot of damage from a safe distance, and you have hard CC, which once again in this snowbally carries everywhere meta is something that is really underrated. And this champion has a lot of burst. You can actually kill other carries with, if you press R, you know, you wait for the stacks to start stacking up, you E them, you auto attack them, proc Duskblade, and then Q them with the empowered Q. You will actually most likely kill them or leave them with an auto attack more worth of HP. But as for items which allows this to happen so much, what you want to do is you want to start off with a corrupting pot, whether you're starting in the mid lane or the bot lane. You want that to be your first item, and you want to be able to bully them out with this item because you do have more sustain, you have more mana and the damage, as well as when you pop the potion you get the damage from the potion on your auto attacks, on spells. It's really underrated. And then you want to get your tier as soon as you can on your first back, and just leave it on the tier, because you're going to want to be rushing a lethality item like Duskblade or Youmuu's. Now it's up to you guys which one you feel like you need. Youmuu's is probably better for walking back to lane. You know, you get the out of combat movement speed, you can clear better, it gives you some safety with the escape, as well as using it to roam to other lanes as well. It is a good all-round item, but then Duskblade will give you more damage, so there is that to take into consideration. If you're ahead, then maybe go for Duskblade, but it is completely up to you guys. Then you want to finish your mana immune and then build the other lethality item, whichever one you didn't build, you want to build that one. And then when you've got that, you want to finish your mana immune, and that's like the trinity items for him. You've got your two lethality items, you've got 20% CDR, and you've got your mana immune, you've got AD, you've got mana. So that's really a point of a lot of power for Lethality Varus, so you want to make sure that you're abusing that and trying to shove people in and make plays with your ultimate. After that, there's two ways you can go. You can go full AD and armor pen. Now it depends whether you need it, because if there's nothing but carries in the game, two lethality items, if they've built no armor, is actually enough to be dealing pretty much true damage. So you can go for like Berserker's Greaves, Essence Reaver, but personally I prefer to get Berserker's Greaves for the movement speed, you know, if you haven't already got them, but those are the boots that you should probably be buying. Some people disagree with me, but I prefer them for a bit of auto attack damage. And then you want to be getting Bork. It gives you a bit of survivability, and the on hit damage is pretty much going to be true damage because of how much lethality you've bought. As I say, then it's pretty much between whether you want to go Essence Reaver, GA if you feel like you need the GA, or a Last Whisper item, and that will pretty much depend on whether you feel like you need the extra tank shredding, that you need to get a Last Whisper. If you think that you need the cooldown reduction and the mana, and pretty much you're ahead and you're just against carries, you can afford to go Essence Reaver because it gives you AD, attack speed, mana, cooldown reduction, pretty much everything that this build wants. You will cap out your CDR with this item as well, so it pretty much means that if you get this item, you are going to be dealing a load of damage. But obviously if there's like a tank with 3 to 4k HP and 200 armor, or even more than just one tank, and they've got like 150 armor, then you do need to get the Last Whisper, because you won't be able to burn through them. Even though you have the Bork, you won't have enough armor pen to get through the armor for the Bork to start being able to shred them. But that's pretty much it for this video. Just remember that this champion has really good wave clear, and it does a lot of damage, a lot of poke damage, and it can be pretty good at kiting back and all-inning with his ultimate, as long as you use it right and don't get too far behind in the early game. But thanks so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a great day. Peace.